pop culture with DJs in painting, graffiti art are expressed every day within the inner cities of America and the world. You are not doing hip-hop, you are hip-hop.
Oh, good afternoon. Good afternoon. I know this sounds really horrible. Trust, it doesn't feel as bad as it sounds, but just know I am going to do what I have to do and then put it on back. You know what I mean? So let me just say this. I am conflicted. I am conflicted because I allow myself so much time for news clips. I do not get into legacy media. I just don't. People have been paid, and so that's just what that is. You only get what you get because somebody paid you to say what you're saying. So 𝐂𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐴 is team independent media. That's where I am. So I only give myself so much time for that. I would say if I have to add it up, I'm going to probably say I'm somewhere between like maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours. No, not, well, 15 minutes. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, about an hour and a half to 2 hours. And so I thought to myself, I like to keep a healthy balance of being aware of what's going on outside my window and then also still being present for all the really good and great things that are happening. So let me do this. Let's play this intro and then I'm going to get into some things that are on my mind. Good afternoon. It is Gwendolyn G.R. Houston Jack. It's Friday. It's Friday. I know. And it's also mid-March, right? Already. Personally, the year could go by a little faster, personally, but this is where we are. So clearly it's 4 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Eastern. So we are on LinkedIn and on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and like this video. I know I just got started and okay, I'm gonna come back to that, but like this video and subscribe. And if you are digging what I do here, then by all means, you should share it with some people. But you know what today is, before I get into some other thoughts, today is that G is Fire Fridays. That's today. So as you know, we start here on my channel, and then we roll over to IndieSoup Media, where we have a replay of Girl Listen. And then we will have a new episode of Ladies Listen Up. That is starting at 7 p.m. Central. No, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. There you go, on IndieSoup Media. So you want to roll over there to check that out. And I'm going to go back real quick to my independent media stance. IndieSoup Media is a great place. There is a host of amazing creators putting out some pretty special content, if I must say so myself. Now, I know I'm on the inside, so there is bias there. However, there's some good programming over there. And this is where I believe we are headed. Hold on, because I gotta... Why do I feel like this is a perfect time to do a commercial for my beautiful mug over here? Yes, let me do, because I haven't done it in a while. The Veiled Vault. Yeah. The Veiled Vault. Get all of your podcast merch over there. There are some things that have sold out, so it is what it is, but it will be coming back. With all of the foolishness with the tariffs and what have you, it changes. I personally look for things that are done in the US to make the shipping time shorter. But what can I tell you? Sometimes even they Yeah. So independent media is what I was speaking about. I believe we are at a place where the outlets that we once trusted to give us the news, right? Those outlets have lost, in my opinion, they've lost their way. I don't understand how people can see something and skew it to go a whole nother direction as if everybody else in the room was not present. But that's the thing about perspective, right? It's the thing about perspective. We always talked about a person's perspective is their own, and I get it. But when that perspective comes across as like the biggest lie ever, I'm thinking, are you insane? Like, are you insane? So there is always that. Before I go too far, let me talk about this one other thing, and then I'll get to my topic at hand. I want to talk about the sisterhood and mentorship. There's a roundtable that I've been invited to. It is taking place on March 26th from 12 to 1:30 p.m. Eastern. It will be on my YouTube as well, but you can watch it on YouTube or LinkedIn. There's a panel of amazing women that we're getting together, and we're talking about sisterhood and mentorship and how important it is just how important it is, period. Because I would say in this timeline, in this universe, but it's just important, period. And I always meet women from time to time who are like, I don't have women friends because women do this, women do that. I always think, what woman hurt you, sis? Like, really? One person's bad deeds does not mean that everybody who looks like or is associated with is part of that. I mean, that's not realistic, but what can I tell you? So let me get back to my thoughts, because I was talking about independent media, and I was just also sharing things that are on my mind at this point. I know, it's a lot. So I'm starting with keeping a healthy balance of a little bit of news, about 2 hours, and we're talking like just quick clips, making my move, call it a day, or I should say, and reading some news articles just to get an idea as to like what's going on and what's being impacted. And the biggest one for me this week was the USDA removing $1 billion in funding for food banks and school lunch programs. And I'm going to say this. I don't really care how people feel about it, but I'm going to say it. There's got to be something wrong with you. Forgive me if that sounds a little judgmental, and it is what it is. But there's something wrong with you that you believe that feeding people that are hungry is a bad thing. There, I said it. And there's something extra wrong with you if you believe, if you are out here thumping your Bible and all that other foolishness, and that's where you stand. There is something wrong with you. Your heart is not in the right place. I know that's judgmental. I'm not the good Lord, and I am certain that everybody will get their comeuppance, but you've got to be in a really dark place to see people hungry, to think that cutting that amount of money is okay. Now, people talk about waste, and people are like, well, you're at these schools and these kids don't eat that food, so we got to cut it. Understand how it works, first of all. And what I really love, yes, that's being facetious. What I really love is people don't really know what they're talking about, making these claims. Now, that's everybody. They've got an opinion. But unless you're in the trenches, you really shouldn't say anything about a lot of stuff. Or if you haven't done your due diligence and research, then you just really just shut up. But let's talk about the food banks. Now, I volunteer as a photographer at the food banks. But as a photographer, when I am out there, I am still a volunteer for the food bank. So if somebody walks up and they're looking for food, they're looking for assistance, I know where to send them, right? When I'm a photographer, beyond me taking pictures, I am also talking to the people who are waiting for these foods, these meals. So I'm not just a person taking pictures and I'm not involved. I see what they're doing. I understand that the money that comes in is used to purchase fresh produce from local farmers, right? That's how it's used. We're not talking processed foods. We're talking fresh food. We are talking that this one particular kitchen prepares fresh meals to be frozen, to go out to those who need meals. So they get both. They get a bag of food, they get meals. And one of the examples given this week at a presentation was people who want to donate turkeys during Thanksgiving and Christmas and what have you. Well, a turkey's a big ass bird. I don't even cook a whole turkey for my family because they don't really like it. But that's a big bird. But how are you cooking a turkey when you're living in an extended stay motel or hotel? Some of these don't have ovens like that. And most people have access to a microwave, right? So when they talk about the funding, that money is used to do so much more than just put meals on the kids' tables at the school. It's more than that. So much more. And understand this, if the child is hungry, trust there are adults in that household that are also experiencing food insecurity. It's not just a kid. But please tell me what child will pay attention when they're hungry. I would love to know. Because I've seen my niece and nephews give me hell when they want to eat and stuff. They don't really pay attention. They don't. But I just find it curious that certain people who claim to be all about life have no problem starving people. I want that to make sense. Please make it make sense. I'm gonna start with that one. So I don't get it. Now I will say this, because I am encouraged that despite the fact that this on again, off again, fund or whatever is happening, Food Bank and all of its partners are committed to feeding the kids and their families. We're going to make it happen no matter what. That's what's really encouraging about particular people or groups, organizations. They are committed to it. This is not a fly-by-night thing. I read that the USDA said that, hey, our focus has changed. This was happening during the pandemic. Now that that's over, those are lies. Food insecurity is big in the US. It should not be. With all the money in this country, it should not be a thing that working families, these are not people who are not working. These are working families who line up, who roll by to get bags of food for them and their family members. That should not be happening here. But what do I know? Right? We're so concerned about having multitudes and buckets and barrels of riches that we can't even feed people, let alone get them off the street. But I don't want to talk about that one today. I just want to start with that one. We'll start there. Let me go to my other. As I'm trying to walk through these new waters. And there was a guy who made a post about how disappointing it is to realize the people in his life, some of his closest friends and family members, colleagues, are not the people he assumed they were. I know how he feels. I know how he feels. I have worked with some pretty awesome people in my time. And I know that people are like, well, politics is just this. We can agree, disagree. We cannot agree on policies meant to me and mine. That is a hell no. There's just no way. There's no way that you can come and sit at my table knowing that the moment you get up, you were looking for knives to put in my back. I don't operate that way. That's going to be a no for me. That's going to be a no. I'm not built that way. Do I have patience and understanding? I most certainly do. I do have it. Do I give them the place to have their thoughts? I do. But with friends like that, who needs enemies? Who needs enemies when you have people like that supporting policies and initiatives and all the things who strip away your civil rights? Please make that make sense to me. I want to understand. I do and I don't. The educator in me wants to understand how somebody can claim to love you and then hurt you in ways that are beyond, that leave me speechless. I don't like you. We cannot play both sides. That is a no. That is a no. You're not going to tell me that you're for me and then at the exact same time you're like, well, being a woman and all, you probably shouldn't get paid the same amount of money. What? That's insane. That's insane. Or the fact that, well, you're black, so you probably got that because you're really not as smart as people say you are. Oh, okay. I don't have that in me. Now, I know what's in my heart. And I believe it. I give people the space to say exactly how they feel and to be who they are. But once I recognize who you are, trust me, I act accordingly. You don't have to do anything. I'm going to act accordingly. Always. But it is disappointing. I say to myself, wow, how did I not see those cues and clues? How did I not see them? How did I not know that you had that much hate in your heart? How did I not know? And let me give an example. So, as I have mentioned before, I have family, friends, and loved ones who are in the LGBTQIA community, right? And the current attack on trans persons is so disgusting. Not only is it disgusting, there is clearly something wrong with the people who go home at night and fixate on these people. I'm just saying. There is clearly something wrong if that's where you spend most of your time, is trying to figure out how to hurt somebody else and why you're so fixated on these people. But that's how it starts, right? Like, you start with the lowest hanging fruit. You start there first and you see just how far you can go. And then you come for everybody else. Then you come for people who are queer, who are gay. You come for same-sex marriage. You come for interracial relationships. You come for all of that. You start one place and you get it. You get that ball rolling there, and then it just spreads because they never stop. It never stops there. And when you think about how a society treats its most vulnerable, as my dinner partner 𝐂𝐸𝐴 says, it tells you about a society. It tells you about it. America's a sick place. We are ill in more ways than one. We are ill. So when I see these posts about trans persons, and people are like, oh my goodness, can you believe it? Can you believe being a girl or a woman and working all this time? I think it's like 11 people, 11 athletes, 11. How many folks we have in the US? I just want to know. It's so ridiculous. These are not men going into women's bathrooms. These are women going into a woman's bathroom. And I just ask myself, why do you care so much? Like, why do you care so much? It doesn't even begin to make sense. We are so concerned about these 11 athletes. But the preacher who was Trump's, what was he, like his pastor, his spiritual advisor, was just found guilty of molesting a 12-year-old. And we're so concerned about the other. We vilify people who are not like us, who look different, who worship different, when the people you really should be concerned about are sitting right next to you on the pew every Sunday or behind the pulpit. When you look at the dangers that women face, if you're looking to really protect people, it's not from the trans community. It is not from some drag queen. It is the heterosexual male who doesn't have emotional intelligence, didn't know how to communicate his feelings, his disappointment, who turns around and murders a woman who shunned him. It is the guy who doesn't understand his self-control, who rapes a woman and then wants to blame her for wearing her muumuu. That's why I raped you, because you had on a muumuu. Or it is the heterosexual man who blames the 8-year-old boy for why he got molested, because he enticed me. We don't want to talk about where the real problems are. If you want to protect women and children, check that. Let's check that. Let's look at the lack of protection when there are stalkers, that a woman has to pretty much be on her deathbed before even that being considered something serious. Let's check that, please. If you really want to talk about protection, if you want to protect the kids, how about some gun control? We're so concerned about what they're learning in school. We don't want to feed them. And we don't want them to hear about America's really awful history. But we don't mind that they can go to school and get shot up at any point in time. Okay, because that makes sense. I volunteer at an elementary school as a reading partner, which is probably how I got sick. I'm not going to blame the babies, but they're little petri dishes. So it's probably how I got sick. I need to work on my immune system. It's been a while. But they were telling me about their drills that they have to take. Now, I don't know how old you guys are, but when I was in school, we did do the extreme weather drill, right? Like we did that because we're in Texas. I mean, Houston, hurricanes and things, but here you have tornadoes. But we didn't have to do a shelter-in-place drill. We didn't have to worry about people coming off the street, or parents or somebody getting out of pocket and coming in, or a student coming in and shooting up the place. We didn't have to do that. We just went to school. Somebody may have egged the bus. There may have been a rock thrown here and there, but we just went to school. There may have been a fight. There could have been a knife. By the 90s, I remember there was one gun after a football game. But we just went to school. Now it's a matter of, if my child goes to school, will they come back? I mean, I have to push a button to get let into this, this guarded door to get in, which is, smart, because look at the times. But we won't change how people get access to those things because, I don't know. Not really sure. All I know is this. All I know is I will continue to do what I need to do to support my community. So it's volunteering at the food bank and talking to people. If it's reading to the babies, we'll do that. If it's bringing to your attention a different perspective, then we will do that. And that's the part that's missing. In this country that wants to see itself as a Christian nation. I don't know where you got that from, because some people came here and stole some land from some indigenous people. So I don't know where that came from, but whatever. Yes, I am non-denominational. I've said that 5,000 times. What happened to the freedom of speech and to worship as you see fit? What happened to all that life, liberty, pursuit of happiness? What happened to that? Is it only for certain people? If those folks don't agree with you, you want to shut them down? I don't understand. I'm not picking up where that's coming from. But I'm gonna tell you what, as I close this up, because clearly I am losing all of it. We'll have to talk about the American dream in the next couple of weeks. Because in my opinion, one, I never believed in it. That sort of white picket fence, Donna Reed BS, I never got it. And I loved Donna Reed, okay? So just make sure I'm clear there. I loved it. I love Donna Reed, but I also recognize that I would never be Donna Reed. You're not going to have me in the kitchen and all this other stuff. And no, that was not part of my makeup. That was not part of Gwendolyn's makeup. I was never going to be Donna Reed. There was never going to be a house and a white picket fence and 3.5 kids. And no. But also, too, when we talk about how we define success, it's not, I don't believe it's healthy, but that's Gwendolyn. I don't believe it's healthy. I'm trying to breathe here at the exact same time. It's kind of hard. I don't know how fish do it, whatever. All right, let's wrap this up, kids. Let's wrap it up because this is what it is. So a couple of things before we go. I haven't talked about this in a long time, but you should get on the GRH Jack email list. It's a good way to stay up because things are always happening. And here's the other part that I'm thinking of. If things start to hit the fan, the one way we can still stay connected is through email, because I don't know, people are kind of fun out here. And if they are shut halls, then who's to say that they're not going to shut you down in some other place? You know, I don't know. So keep that in mind. I also will say this, because I have to shout her out because I love shouting out people who provide amazing services and a great product. Glitz Optical is where I get my glasses. And I've got some cute ones coming. I know I don't need another pair of glasses, but you know, I'm falling in love with readers. I'm falling in love with readers because they're cute. I mean, like, come on, they're cute. I didn't put the other ones on today. These were on the desk. I now have readers all over the place. I keep 2 in the office. I keep 1 pair in my purse, 1 pair on the nightstand. And I'm about to have a pair in the car just in case. Can you believe it? I am that person. What happened, people? What's going down? All right, last thing is it's senior season. So if you are in the DFW Houston area, by all means, roll up to gphotographybyg.com. Check out what I offer in terms of photography services. Because Gwendolyn is a creative. I am a creative, believe it or not. I am. I'm a creative. What can I tell you? And you'll probably see this in the next coming week or so, because again, that Sisterhood Roundtable is March 26th. You'll see me promoting it more as we get closer to it. Gwendolyn is going to shut this down. I am going to say no to all other activities today, and yes to me resting and getting myself back together, because I need to get myself back together. That is what we're doing. If I can just get trying to get that last little bit of breath before I pass out. All right, with that, you guys have a good weekend. Stay safe. See you all soon. Hey, it's G. Thank you for watching this episode of Girl Listen. Be sure to catch me every Friday at 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern. And while you're here, I cordially invite you to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. See you all next week.